Hey, George, it's episode 92 of Steady Bimco and 42 of Steady Bimco Co. Part 2, Revenge. See what happens? And this week we're going to watch 1976 Crypt of Dark Secrets.
Woo! And what a movie that was.
And also, George,
Yep.
we answered the age-old question.
Oh.
Did Thomas Watson ever get revenge on Alexander Graham Bell for making his first call to him while he was in the shower?
Didn't you already do this one?
You made me cut it out.
I did? Okay.
Watson was like, I'm going to invent the answering machine.
Nothing like reusing a mediocre joke.
It's all a new joke. You didn't know Thomas Watson invented the answering machine, did you?
Nope. Did you use Thomas Watson because of his similarity to the protagonist of this movie, Watkins?
No, this is history.
Okay.
He named it after his uncle Robert P. Answer. There you go. Now it's a mediocre joke.
It's Steady Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
So anyway, hey, it's Steady Bimco, the show where we create sequels to movies that are pretty bad. And this movie didn't even have a Wikipedia page that I could find.
Yeah, that's always... Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was kind of like, there were movies I was thinking about for my next term, and like that's beginning to be my... If there's not a Wikipedia page, I'm like, I don't think we could justify this movie.
Oh, it's my favorite.
No, because it's dangerous out there. Tubi is a real wasteland of of stuff that should never even gotten like stuff that like whenever you see a movie from 2023 on Tubi, it's somebody just filmed that a week ago in their garage and like don't even watch it.
But every week we pick a wild card question at the start because we usually ask who from this movie we watched would be most likely to do something. We make it up on the spot. They are amazing stories.
Improv of the highest fashion. What is it this time, Tim?
So who from this movie tonight would be number one? Most likely to use a dead friend as Sasquatch bait.
Not a reference to Boggy Creek, but in fact a reference to previous episode featuring Steady Bimco, Shrieks of the Mutilated.
Oh, you remembered.
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh.
So any good revenge stories come your way this week?
Oh, I looked up revenge stories in the news. It'd be funny and lighthearted, but a lot of murder, a lot of killing.
Yeah, that's beginning to notice a trend here.
Yet again. One day
someone's going to do something funny and we're going to be there all over it. But no, it just doesn't happen.
The only news I read was about that Burt Patricks. You hear about him?
No, who is Burt Patricks?
He's a quarterback for the Tennessee Horsebacks. He scored 3 home runs against the Arizona Buzzsaws. And he did this after hearing his aunt had lost her leg in a terrible coyote attack. And when they reached him for comment, he said, I told my family not to bury her in that discount shallow grave cemetery.
Yeah.
Cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a new thing, folks. He's my erstwhile co-host Tim is doing some sort of sports jokes where it's like fake sports teams. He thinks this is funny. There's probably a deeper humor I'm not getting. I don't get him. You see, I'm not a sports guy, admit it.
You thought his aunt lost her leg in a coyote attack.
Yeah.
And she was alive, but she was buried in the discount shallow grave cemetery.
Now you lost me long before you even got up to that part.
All right.
You're really obsessed with losing limbs lately too. You just got off of your weird like streetcar early 1900s thing. Now, Tim, I feel like this is a bad omen.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Bad omen for who?
For somebody losing their limb. If you are a listener and you've recently lost a limb, be it to coyote predation or streetcar, please write to us at SteadyBimco with an E at the end, Gmail, and lay into Tim for really kind of setting up bad omens for that.
I'm setting bad omens.
Yeah.
How about you?
Let's see. What is new with me?
Nothing. Something.
Been seeing a lot of Tim lately. I'll say that.
We talked about that.
We recorded an episode. We hung out with our friend Foofy, who was in from out of town.
I made cookies for you all. Did you like them? Did you finish them?
Yeah, I ate them all.
And did you share them with your significant other, or did you hide them in your pocket and say?
Can I tell you something? My significant other doesn't like peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, these cookies normally have peanut butter. Do they have peanut butter? I'm like, they do, but it's like, it's barely detectable. They were actually really good cookies, everybody. It's like the ones with like, they have like kind of a crumbly cookie.
They're called Hershey Stars.
Is that what they're called? They have names. And they have Hershey's Kisses right in the middle. And like, so we had gone out, we went out a wassailing, as one does in the holidays when we're recording this, our buddies, and we drank a lot. Tim went in at, 9:30? You were like, I have to go home. But the rest of us, we really tied one on, and we all pretty much housed our cookies at night because we were filled with beers.
Oof.
But yeah, my partner, she doesn't like anything with peanut butter at all. It's
this brings up a sad question I have, because
this is sad already. But yeah, what?
You didn't know this was a Hershey Star, so I don't want to besmirch your mother anymore. But you said she hates cooking, but did she like baking?
No.
So you had no Christmas cookies at Christmas?
My mom would make, which probably doesn't count as baking. She would sometimes. She had a few recipes she could make. She and I'm speaking of her like in the past tense because my mom is still with us, still hale and hearty, but her cooking has only atrophied since then. She used to be able to make Rice Krispies treats.
Oh, yeah.
She would do that. I don't care for them.
They could microwave, right? There's no baking.
I think it's you microwave it. You melt marshmallow and pour it on Rice Krispies. Yeah. And then they become like rock hard teeth breakers. She would make some sort of dip occasionally, like some sort of like artichoke dip.
Oh, well, I'm sad you had no Christmas cookies. I can name so many. My mom made at least a dozen different types.
No, I mean, Tim, I had moved out of the house before I ever ate anything that wasn't reheated from a freeze-dried packet. That's not true. Like I said, my father could cook pretty well. I learned to cook for myself pretty young. It's a good incentive. Like when your mom just is like, cooking.
You made it sad.
I did make it sad. I got sad. Let's cut all that out. Cut all that out.
You're not cutting it out. We want to talk about this movie.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you want me to read the quick synopsis for people?
Yeah,
there is a plot.
There was.
I'll read it.
Yeah, read it.
Army Ranger Ted Watkins returns from his last tour in Vietnam, decides to abandon society and take up residence on a remote island, which is called Haunted Island.
Haunted Island.
In Louisiana.
Yeah, they really worked in that name.
A couple of guys in town here. He's got a lot of money, and they rob him, and they kill him. They kill him first and rob him, and then a snake lady brings him back from the dead so they can wreak revenge. Which sounds like a pretty good plot. I mean, for a short story. But
yeah, boy. And it's pretty straightforward and simple, right, folks? You would be surprised how far afield this movie got. Also, in a runtime of only an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was great.
So, Tim, I was wondering, did you choose this movie? This comes on the heels of us doing Lair of the White Worm. Did you type in Snake Lady as a search term and come across this?
Nope. I was just looking at a few movies and I heard the term snake cult. And I thought, oh, this is a great follow-up.
Okay, because we now have 2 movies in a row dealing with snake cults, and I will say I'm just going to go on a limb and say the drop off between the two in quality is precipitous. Like this is Lair of the White Worm is not a great movie, but it compared to this, it's like The Godfather. But I will say it did start off. My first note, off to a good start.
Really?
Because the movie opens up.
Oh, with
we just see this very attractive woman who's kind of doing like a weird dance in the middle of the woods. In front of there's like
she's got something
a circle on the floor.
Ground.
Yeah, you don't get a good look at it. It looks like it's a circle that's bisected quadrisected, I guess, into quadrants.
Correct, George.
And
Quadrisected.
Let's make up words. And it's a big long shot. Like you're focusing on it for a long time. You're like, her clothes are going to come off. Her clothes are going to come off. Spoilers, they don't yet.
George was texting me the whole time. When are her clothes going to come off?
Boy, oh boy. When's she going to drop those clothes? Because she's just wearing some kind of like, I don't know, burlap sack or something.
Yes.
And then we keep zooming in on one of the symbols and one of the quadrants, and it's like an eye, like made of
Yeah,
like,
that's what I've
what is it,
written
like, was it piles of powder? I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
Then she fucking levitates.
Yes. Next to a tree.
Which, yeah.
It was the
very
bad
close.
effect, but
No, I will say for 76, for this movie, this whole opening scene led me to expect we were going to watch something a lot better than the movie turned out to be. Because I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. She's levitating. I imagine upon reflection, Tim, the only reason she's not naked in the scene is because they had to cover whatever apparatus was hoisting her up the tree,
true,
right?
True.
Yeah, because...
The movie goes downhill like right away because...
Well, no, I would argue the
What?
next scene's not bad.
No, what?
So the next scene is right. Is it? Am I wrong? It's we see the two police officers going through the bayou.
Well, don't they talk first to Charlie? Because he's important to my story.
Who's
Charlie's got the book, and he's like,
Well,
Sheriff,
yeah. What the hell was that? I forgot all that. I even wrote
it
parts
looks like
of
the
that
book
down.
that he made. And he's like, Sheriff, I think you should check out. It's a lady in the swamp who turns into snakes. And the sheriff's like, I guess we better check that out.
Well, no, the sheriff goes to him first. The sheriff's like, so what do you think? Like, there's some really funny lines.
Yeah.
The sheriff goes, well, what's his name? Charlie?
Yeah, I think it's Charlie. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it is, right. Because I wrote Charlie. So presumably, well, Charlie, what did you find? He goes, well, we have 5,000 to 6,000 books here. So I found something.
I didn't even notice that. I thought.
And he says, a woman who lives at the lake and turns into a snake. And I'm like, are they going to rhyme this whole thing?
I didn't even
don't.
rhyme that.
Yeah.
You're making this up?
No, this is really a woman who lives at the. I actually rewound the video twice to make sure I got this part.
Oh,
A woman
okay.
who lives at the lake and turns into a snake.
Gotcha.
I'm like, it rhymes. Yeah, it's got a good rhythm. It's like Dr. Seuss. Her name is Dombella,
Mhm.
and the sheriff, like, they're talking about this thing, like, and in one of the books, like, they've
There's a
posted
picture.
pictures of, like, it looks like a mermaid lady,
I
like
think-
top half is a naked lady, bottom half is a snake.
I think
These are
Charlie drew
drawings.
that. Charlie drew that.
Charlie draws it when he's thinking, when he's like, what am I? Like, they never really identify what he is. He's just in a place where there's 5,000, 6,000 books.
I know, Charlie.
And the sheriff's like, do you believe it? Like, what? A woman who turns into a snake? Like, is there any reason this movie we should? And he goes, well, see, here's the thing. There's two reasons why people write a book. One of the reasons is they want to record history. And the other reason is to entertain people.
Yes.
I don't know what these reasons are. Tim, I don't agree there's only two reasons to write books.
I don't either. Did you make a list?
Yeah. I started to, and I just lost steam.
What?
Did you,
Come
Tim,
on.
did you write a list?
Yes.
I'm going to listen to your list, and I'm going to add in supplements if needed. All right, go for it.
I
Take the
can't
list
believe
away.
You gave up. Well, one
Yeah,
reason,
man.
right? But another reason is to kill trees.
That's a good one. That's good. I'll go with mine.
Yeah.
To make bad money, and then I wrote make hand gesture where you're doing the dollar thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's one. All right. So all right, now you go one.
They keep track of where they buried all the dead hippies they killed in this town.
That's good. That's good. I had one to tell the world the secret of how to get thinner thighs in 30 days.
Right.
And then, unfortunately, that's when I ran out of steam. So I'm like, George, you could have done better. Thinner thighs in 30 days. What was that? A hit in like 1979?
I think so. For quite a while.
Probably. Yeah. So, I mean, probably contemporaneous with this film, but I lost all will to make lists. So yeah, that's my addendums.
Well, thank you. Thank you for trying.
Right.
The cat lay on you halfway through?
Tim, you joke.
Probably.
Literally. Okay. Folks at home, in this hour 12 movie, not only did my cat keep sitting at me to the point where I actually had to take my poor cat out of the room because she was just like, I need to like lay on you for this. I fucking fell asleep in this movie and then had to rewind it and watch it. And then
Why?
Then
You
I kind of fell asleep again.
I can show you.
Hour 12 movie that has tons of full frontal nudity, and I still fell asleep twice. All right, what's the third one, Tim? On your third,
Oh.
the fifth, because we combined a mega list.
Reason they write books. So
Yeah,
they can redline parts of town where people of color are denied bank loans to buy houses.
Oh, that's
Well, I have a funnier one to go back to. I have one more.
okay. Go to a funny one. That one was depressing. That sucked.
So people can connect the dots and draw pictures of what George Washington looked like when he was crossing the Delaware. Connect the dots, you know those books?
Yeah.
Connect the dots.
Yeah.
That's it. See, I ended with a funny one, George.
Well, folks,
Dots.
that's our Could we end with a quote unquote funny one? Folks, that was the combined mega list from your hosts of the SETI BIMCO podcast. If you enjoyed that combined mega list, write to us at SETIBIMCO with an E at the end of gmail.com and tell us.
Make your own list. If it's good, George will send you $2.
That's true. If it's good. And only I can judge that.
So now we go for a long ride in the swamp because these cops have killed all the hippies in town. So there's nothing else to do but go into the swamp and check on a lady who maybe turns into a snake.
Wait, before the final word of Charlie in this movie, and like the best, maybe just to helps you, just because you can't see something or even believe in it doesn't mean it isn't out there or isn't real.
Ooh, I missed that. It's out there.
That was like his
he's saying the truth is out there.
Yeah, he's saying, and then he goes, now me and my partner Skulder and Mully need to go. And I don't know. So then this is the part, because I did, even though I wrote a lot of notes and even wrote part of a list for that, I did kind of forget how bad this scene was of just the sheriff. Then the sheriff, Lieutenant, what is his name?
I just call him Sheriff and Lieutenant because
Lieutenant Harrington and Sergeant Buck.
Okay.
That are their names. The sheriff, who's not a sheriff, he's actually Lieutenant Harrington, and his partner Sergeant Buck are riding through the swamp on a boat, and it's kind of like long and ambling.
Mm-hmm.
And before I realized that the movie was mostly gonna be shots of people in boats doing this, it put me in the mind of like Soggy Creek. I almost called it Soggy Bottoms. Boggy Creek, which they always open up with like long, luxurious shots of people going through the bayou. I would say also, like, the only capable actor maybe in this entire movie, with the exception of perhaps the naked lady, is the guy who played Lieutenant Harrington.
Yeah, like, he did a good job.
He was actually not bad.
No.
So I'm watching this thing. I'm like, oh, this might be like kind of a fun sort of Boggy Creek type movie. Spoilers, it's not.
Before I forget, there's no cars in this movie. You never see a car. They couldn't afford a car. Never. They go places, but there's never a car.
Oh.
No cars.
Well, yeah, most of the places they do go, you're right. You are so right. This movie has a shocking, it only has, the only transition scenes it has are people riding solely on boats. Aside from that, like, there are so many scenes where there's no transitions at all. It's just like the characters talking, then suddenly.
Right.
I know that's maybe not weird. You don't always see people in cars in between scenes, but like this movie jumps around in a jarring way.
It does. So
this is what we learned. It's filmed in New Orleans too. This is a New Orleans film. I just want to mention it's by a guy who's apparently a bit of a local legend in New Orleans named Jack Weiss.
Yeah, he's made 2 other movies.
Continuing Tim's regional tour of local filmmaking. Like, I appreciate you do this. Like, so now we've seen this is what was happening outside of New Orleans in the 70s.
In the bicentennial, 1976.
Oh.
So they ride out there and they say it's 10 miles and people have lived here before and they've never stayed long. It's called Haunted Island. And he says, you spend a night in the swamp, you'll believe anything, Sheriff. That line.
That's true. Well, Sergeant, he says, no, Sheriff.
You believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. You
damn
believe in evolution. You believe that video killed the radio star.
What else? You'll believe a pet rock is a real pet. What else?
That was only 1 year behind them. That's it. It's not a list.
Yeah, it's a big house on Haunted Island.
Yeah, it's
150 years old, back in
nice looking
1976. Furnished. 10 people in the last 10 years have tried to homestead it. They all last a night.
But it does not look terrible. It's not like a pretty nice house.
Well, I think that's the point. I think it's supposed to be like it never gets decrepit. He says it's fully furnished and it's lasted there because it's haunted. Oh, also, we should mention this. It's always foggy and cool on the island. And they're talking about how hot it is.
And there's a meteor in the yard.
Oh, I forgot the meteor. Yeah, well, that kind of gets dropped later. Like the cops aren't saying that part.
They just threw everything in this haunted island.
So yeah, they're just talking, and basically what we learned, the reason the cops are going out to this island is because the Lieutenant Harrington, the one decent actor in the entire movie, has learned that there's been a guy staying there for a month, and like we said before, nobody's ever stayed there more than a night in the last 10 years. So he's going to check up on this guy. This town is full of busybodies. We're going to see a lot of people got their nose, and like they pull up to the dock. And can we describe this fucking actor playing the guy who's staying on the island?
He looks like he's totally high. That's what I thought.
What is wrong with this man? Okay, folks, if you listen to this before, you know I will sometimes attack people for being like wooden chunks who just don't act. This guy has the least charisma I've ever seen in an actor. He is thick-lidded,
Yep.
pig-faced. Like his
Well,
reactions to stuff.
George, he was
It's
in
like he's-
Vietnam. Must
Yeah, he
be-
was. Did he say because he was in Korea first?
I
too.
know. And I was like, how
And
old
there's
are
a
you?
line. He goes, after 40 years in the jungle. I'm like, does that match up?
Yeah, he has no gray hair. He's
I
just,
guess it does. Yeah, wait. Because, all right, so he was in Korea, right? Korea's in the 50s.
Yeah, he's.
And then he did multiple tours in Vietnam. He just got out in 76.
you
I
know
guess
what?
he could have spent almost 40 years in the jungle if you combine everything.
He made enough money that you can fit it into his bread box. We'll get there because that's where
Oh, man.
he hides his money. By the way, sorry,
that's just too
spoilers.
So,
Yeah, he's
we didn't get.
and he's got cold beer.
And this guy. And he's also wearing stupid shorts.
I know.
He's got his shirt open, showing off his tubby belly.
I think it was
like-
9 a.m. He's like, "Hey, want a beer? Have some breakfast?"
Well, he offers Lieutenant Harrington and Sergeant Buck a beer or coffee. Lieutenant Harrington takes a coffee.
So I'm like, "What time
Sergeant
is
Buck,
it?"
who I like Sergeant Buck. He's like, I'll take that beer. It's like, yeah, you're on duty drinking a beer. Yeah. So they drink, and he's talking to him. He's like, you've been out here a month. He's like, actually, I've been out here 2.5 months. He's like, no, you've been here a month. He's like, nope, sir. I've been here 2.5 months. He's like, I can't believe that.
I can't believe how
And he
stoned
does tell
is.
them, I can't believe what a frogman you are. Not like a Navy frogman who wears, like, you look like you're a half toad.
Yes.
And we learn he's an Army Ranger who's like I said, 40 years in the jungle.
Mhm.
I don't think, I mean, this guy looks charitably like he's 44. So I don't know
Yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on there.
He says, "Down the
he's
path there's
doughy.
a meteor."
Yeah, he goes down the path. There's a meteor there
Look-
because there's no rocks in this part of the country.
No, he said there's no natural rock in this place. Now, like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? What's that even mean?
What's a swamp, actually? That makes sense. There wouldn't be exposed rock there. It's like, there,
No.
as we learned, there's quicksand here.
No natural rock? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Natural.
I assumed he meant like, and I kind of got it because it was a weird line, but he mentions that there's an exposed rock there. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's
Okay.
like this is literal swamp shit. Like 90% of Seti Bimco movies, this takes place in like a swamp. There's not gonna be a rock in a swamp. It would sink down.
It was a
So-
meteor. It was the meteor that
Yeah, it's a-
caused the ice age that caused the dinosaurs to die.
Oh no.
That's what I think.
I'm surprised. Tim, maybe cut this out if you want to, but like, does this play any part in the movie?
No, the meteor
No,
never.
weird, right?
Yeah.
It's like they just throw that in there, and you're like, I'm like, oh, good, there's gonna be some sort of no, nothing. Oh, there is a little bit, I guess, but
I don't remember it.
I'll
You
try to
dreamed
remember it. No, there is a part. She says it came when the witch lady's talking. She's like, it came from the heavens, from our God.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't do it. It's just that. I think it doesn't. All right. So what happened? So the cops and the guy are talking.
And Ted tells him he sees this woman. So I just see no one except this woman swims naked. I go down and peek at her, and she runs away. That's what he says. I can never catch her.
I was chasing after her to try to pinch her bottom and go, whoa, 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 whoa. She runs away for some reason. But imagine like the guy, like the most wooden dead.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes it's a good time by the water.
Like I can't believe I stopped the movie at this point and read about it because I was like, this guy must be the director.
What did you find to read? I couldn't find anything.
Man, you can't go. Man, if you go to IMDb, there's a little.
There's a little.
You have to go to like websites like Ted's Bad Movie Review, and they'll be like they'll sell. That's literally I was on sites like that.
Okay.
He's not. This guy is not the director because I thought for sure. I'm like nobody. Like, what happens when you're
Was-
casting your movie?
Was he?
Admittedly a low budget fare? No, he's not.
Okay.
What charismatic black hole did he have to fall down? Like he cast this guy, and everybody acts like he's a super badass.
I know.
I'm like, no, that guy looks like me. That's not true. I look better than this guy. Look me up, folks. Look me up. Picture in line. George O'Connor. I look better than this guy.
Everybody's talk, including their talk they're having here at the cabin, is intercut with a black snake in the water. Just
Yeah,
to
we keep
let you
seeing
know.
like a black. Yeah, thank you. I was actually just noticing that.
All the time.
We keep seeing a black snake like every few scenes. Another thing I wanted to mention, Tim, did you notice the way line deliveries are done in this movie?
Oh yeah.
It's
mean-
like everyone could only speak maybe at most
Right.
7 or 6 words at a time.
Yeah,
And every line is delivered like what I am doing now. And it's like maddening.
but they leave him. They're
So-
like, "Hey, you're cool. Thanks for the beer."
Yep.
And they
One of the only scenes I really liked, like the one guy's like, if you ever come into town, the lieutenant's like, come by, coffee pot's always on. And Sergeant Buck, the one who had the beer on duty, is like, or better yet, I'll buy you a beer. I'm like, that guy acted for a second. Did
He
you see
did.
that?
They do have a little conversation about his money. He's like, "Ooh, you got a lot of money,"
I couldn't remember if they did now. Okay, yeah.
and he's like, "Money doesn't matter." But that's when we cut to these weird cuts where suddenly Ted is in the bank with the police.
Oh yeah, talking about like this is what I'm saying when there's no transition. So they leave. We see the police leave,
Mhm.
and then the next scene.
They're in the bank.
Although we maybe do see the snake turn into a lady, the lady turn into a snake, or
that
vice versa.
happens here and there.
Like
yeah.
apropos, that just happens occasionally. I know that should be something more noteworthy. Just like you
Just-
see like a lady, and then there's a bunch of smoke, and then there's a snake.
Mhm.
Also, the snake, worth mentioning, must be 4 or 5 different species depending on the shot.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same snake every time. So then we cut to the bank literally, and Sergeant Buck is there with
Ted,
our man Ted. Ted's now wearing pants.
who didn't want
thankfully.
to put his money in the bank anyway, so I don't know why he
Nope.
came.
He's there, and they meet the bank guy.
And you know what I
And the
recorded,
bank-
George? My favorite thing in the whole movie. Did you notice?
What?
Their squeaky chair. Every time they sat in their chair, it was like,
Dude.
squeak. I put it right in here.
I'm so glad you recorded that. Did you get the out of control cicadas at other scenes of the movie? That would be fun to play. There's a lot of like, because as they cut scenes, like I guess it's as they were actually filming these scenes, there was crazy cicada action going in the background. So from
Yeah.
scene to scene, from moment to moment, cut to cut within one scene, there'll be lots of cicadas making noises, then none, then
Yeah.
lots. It's kind of hilarious.
But the squeak is good. There it goes. Is that your
So
chair,
they're in the
George?
bank.
Okay.
Is my bank chair? I know that's one of Tim's great. My chair, and I apologize, listeners, my chair does squeak a lot.
So,
So they're in the bank,
they're in the bank.
and the bank guy, I think his bank, I don't know, he's got a name. In the credits, in the opening, I noticed there were 2 credits, banker and other banker. I'm like,
Okay,
that's
there was
interesting.
one in the background. He
So,
won't give
banker. Banker is there in the foreground, and he's like,
Very concerned about the amount of money that you're keeping in your cabin on the island.
How did you know that?
like
Yeah.
Ted Watkins, like,
How did you hear that?
well, we're part of a chain bank. And the other bank tells at the other location, they told me that you signed for 12 checks at $1,500 a bit. And like,
Yeah.
first off, why are you talking so much about me?
And how much money is that now, George?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Roll the music for George's current currency kerner, everybody. George's current currency kerner. So here's the thing. Ted Watkins in 1976 signed for his disability and army pension. He signed 12 checks, each worth $1,500 in 76. So you know this is going to be a lot of money.
Yes. How much is that? Add it up.
$1,500 is
Times.
equivalent to about $6,475.
Today?
So per
Oh,
month
you
he's
mean-
getting
Oh, what he got. back
yeah
then,
today
sorry.
per month he's getting $6,475. So
Oh.
times that by the 12, this dude has the equivalent of $97,133 sitting around his house
Ooh, back then.
for ex-military. I
Yeah.
don't think we do that anymore, Tim.
Nope. He did many
think
tours, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. He was in the
And-
army for 40 years.
Obviously, he let them experiment on him.
Oh my God. Dude,
Yeah. They
I
cut
wish
my
I thought
head
of this.
open
He's
a
a
few
super. He's a
times.
super soldier, isn't he?
They stuck a needle in my head.
They took out my brain, and now I'm this. Half man, half frog.
So today,
Um,
is that what he has today? Did we do it?
So the amount of money he has back then is $18,000.
I see.
But the equivalent of today's
Today.
spending, according to George's current currency kerner, is $97,133 and like 58
gotcha.
cents,
Gotcha.
which is a lot of money, especially to have sitting around. And just so throughout this scene
Yes.
is the most dodgy looking motherfucker you could imagine. Like you went to central casting, like give me a dodgy looking guy, a guy who's sit in the background. You're going to notice immediately because he looks skeezy and disreputable.
Yeah.
He's sitting there in a chair, like just staring, like, say, what are they talking about? All this money.
And they're
the
talking
banker's like-
loudly. Like, I keep
so
it hidden
loudly.
in my my bread box, by the way, in the kitchen.
Yeah, the banker is like, just out of curiosity, where do you keep it? I keep it in a place where it's safe from the bugs. The bed.
We
wait,
can't say the bread box.
We can't say the bread box. And the banker's like, haha, that's a good place to keep your bread. The bread box. Ha ha ha. And then they go away. And like the guy's like, oh, in the background, the dodgy guy. I
Yes.
thought for sure they're gonna have a scene where he's like, all right, so let's go rob him with the banker guy. Like
Oh.
nobody notices this dude sitting there practically rubbing his paws together, being like, I'm gonna get this guy. And then my favorite character in the whole movie, other banker, gets his line to speak.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, we can't give you any more loan. And so dodgy guy's like, so no money? He's like, nope.
No money. That means no money.
Yeah. And then we smash cut to dodgy guy, and he
Home.
is not even at home.
Oh, where's he go first?
He's on the boat outside the island
Oh, that's right.
with his friend, and
yeah.
his friend. So let's describe dodgy guy is. I couldn't decide if he was doing a real Cajun accent,
Yeah, he was trying.
but he might have really been Cajun. That's what I'm
He
saying.
could have been.
Like,
I'm no
yeah, he's-
expert.
he had a mustache, kind of like a big shaggy gray mop of hair, and like nothing on top.
He spelled cash. C-A-S-H. That's
That-
how a hillbilly spells cash. That's what
That
he
was-
said.
That was, I know. I saw that. I was like, I almost recorded it, but at this point, I'm like, I don't think I could write this shit down. It's too much. And his friend looks like, if you've ever seen the opening of Lord of the Rings, he looks like Smeagol before he
Oh,
becomes
I didn't think of that.
like a large version. But I'm like, and like, there are these two bumpkins. They're like, I heard that this guy has all this money there.
Hmm.
We should go on there. And so they're going to scope
Oh.
out the whole island.
Their name is Max and Earl, by the way. I did write
That's
down
right.
the
Max
names.
and Earl. Earl is the guy in the bank. Max is the guy who looks like Smeagol.
Yep. They go check out this house.
They
And the
check
rowboat.
out the whole island, apparently, we learned. But
Yes. They know the island well.
yes.
Because one guy walks in the water and steps in quicksand. So I swear there ain't no quicksand there before.
There wasn't no quicksand yesterday. But Tim, didn't they also say multiple times before that how this island was in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody around for 10 miles?
Right. Yeah.
So, like, these guys are there every day anyway?
I don't know.
So there's a whole scene where, like, Max is trying to get Earl is
Thrilling.
trying to get Max out of the
Thrilling
out of the
scene,
quicksand,
George.
which is just just with a stick. It's just so long. He pulls him out. Then
And Earl
again,
coughs and cries like a baby after he came out. I don't know if you some
Yeah, he
acting
was-
going on there.
then smash cut to Earl's house
Right.
where the three of them were talking about all the money and they checked out the whole place.
There's a
And they're
woman
talking-
suddenly. Her name's
Yeah,
Louise.
Earl-
but they
but-
don't even introduce her. I don't know who she is, which one
Oh,
she's
she's
married
Earl's
to.
wife because
I guess.
there's the scene of them in bed together later.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Unless
Okay.
she's Max's wife. And
I couldn't tell.
no, because Max says something too. Max is like, I lost everything I had in the last hurricane. And you two, if it weren't for the crabbing and the fishing, you'd be in the poorhouse too.
Yep.
Yep.
Earl, I hid all my money in my kite bank, and it blew away in the last hurricane.
I kept telling you, none kites ain't real. Oh, all right. So quicksand. So the three of them decide, because Louise is smarter than Earl and Max. She's like, well, if you're going to get the money, you got to make sure you don't leave any evidence.
Hmm.
And you got to make sure there's no witnesses. So you should probably kill him in a way what the swamp would kill him.
Hmm.
And yeah, so they decide they're going to make him. He goes, what if he. Oh, this part is my favorite. This is Earl. I reckon we can make him fall into the swamp, and then he'd have an unfortunate accident and drown. And the three of them like practice doing like evil laughs for like a minute.
That's
They go,
I have that written down. They laugh like villains.
so ridiculous.
You know the biggest thing I found wrong about this scene?
What?
Behind Louise is a whole cabinet of encyclopedias.
Oh, they're not. Those people can't read.
Well, they don't read. I don't know if they can read, but why do they have a whole cabinet of encyclopedias?
You know, you mentioned that, but there is actually somebody makes a reference to reading something in an encyclopedia later.
Really?
Yeah, there is a
Okay.
mention to that. Somebody looks something up, but it's not one of them. It's one of the other characters. Oh, and do we mention the entire time while this is happening that the snake lady is watching them in their window and then turns into a snake? Because she does. All right, what happens
Believe
next?
me, it won't come. It doesn't. It's not very clear, even after the movie's over. Oh, we shift to this crazy scene. I wrote it down because Ted, he goes to see a woman that, I'm sorry, she's called the voodoo lady. I hate that term. They just call her the voodoo lady.
They also called her the old woman, and I would say she's not old.
And
she's
her face is painted.
And her face, she's
sadly
wearing brown face. You're
painted
right.
to be like a more brown.
Yeah.
Very bad. But Ted goes to see her. I forget why Ted goes to see her, but there's a man there and she's poking spears into his back. Like acupuncture, except she's like jabbing him, like throwing them.
And there's a sound effect like when you shoot an arrow into like a target, like a thunk, 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 thunk.
I know.
Why?
And he's in a trance.
He going to see her, and this guy's just like this guy. He kind of looks like actually the sergeant, and I thought he was at first. He's totally shirtless. He might even be the sergeant.
He might
just
be.
This like white guy staring ahead, getting like. It's like when you see like a matador throwing those weird spears in the bull's back. It looks like that.
He's facing us, so you can't see them go in. It's just from the side, He's
they're
very long.
Why the fuck is Ted going to see her?
Wow, I forget, because he keeps seeing the snake woman. I think he saw the snake lady's change once or something.
I think someone mentioned going to see it. Maybe even the sheriff does or somebody, and she gives a warning like, "Watch out for the water."
Because your moon is in Pisces.
She'll make herself known to you when she's ready.
So Max and Earl go out to jump him. That's what I have written down. That's what happens next.
Yeah, smash cut once again.
Smash cut.
It's the next day. It's all smash cuts.
They're already
the three of them.
Island.
It's Max, Earl, and Louise are there. Louise has some sort of weighted thing. I don't know. And they're like,
they call
every
it
day
something.
He comes out. Yeah, it's like a hoobly doo or something. And Earl's like, I scoped this out every day about this time. He goes fishing. We'll run out and we'll take him. And Louise is like, I know he looks pretty tough. Can you guys take him? And like, this is not the first time somebody's like talks
out.
Well, and the sheriff's like, he has nothing to worry about. Nobody around here could take those like that guy. I want to stress that Ted is not an imposing physical specimen.
No, he's not. No muscles.
I'm a small, not particularly fit guy. I could take this guy. I'm confident. like he's not. It's weird.
Yeah.
Everybody acts like he's fucking Steve Rogers, and like he's not.
Yep.
He's like Steve Rogers before the Super Soldier Serum. Am I right, Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Comics.
Sorry. I went to sleep when you mentioned super soldiers.
He just passed out for a moment.
So they chase him down the dock because he's going swimming, and they start to fight with him, and he
punches out Earl.
Yeah, he punches them out, but Louise shows up with her sack of whatever.
Looks like an umbrella, honestly. She hits him. Oh,
she hits a whole big sack of coins and silver dollars because they're like, that's heavy. What you got in there? And she goes, oh, it's like $700 worth of coins. They're like,
wait, is that really a thing that happens?
Doe, and we killed him.
Oh
no, George, come on.
Okay.
Did you fall asleep here?
Well, dude, she knocks him unconscious.
You fell asleep.
No, I didn't. Not this part. I fell asleep later. She knocks him. They fall. They throw him into the water. They immediately drag him back. I'm like, wait, are they having second bets? No, and this is important. Mm-hmm. Maybe to my story, maybe to the movie. I'm not really sure because they draw emphasis to this. They're like, I want to get that gold what's on him.
Yep.
Tim, had you noticed them really referencing the gold at this point?
No. I think it's fool's gold.
So he has a gold watch they take off or something, or a gold bracelet. Yeah, there's a gold medal of some sort, and then there's a gold ring. And they take those things off, and then they put his shirt over his face, push him back in the water, and presumably he drowns.
They're like, look at this medal for burning down a village, killing 20 children. Sorry. It's just him.
Wow, dark.
He looks like he did some dark things.
He looks like he just did a lot of Quaaludes.
So they go to the bread box.
They go to the bread box because he's dead now.
They find all the money.
Yep.
And Max says, I'm worried about that black snake watching us. Did you see that black snake watching us? I'm like, no.
He's like, why are you mentioning a snake watching us, you idiot? So they take the money back. I do love the line. They're like, we're going to be millionaires. It's like, nah.
We're going to invest this.
If you invest it very wisely, even through George's current currency, you're not millionaires. But
they're going to invest it into the pet rock fad that was sweeping the nation right about then.
Well, I forgot to mention, Tim, this was another opportunity for the current era thing. Because the banker, upon hearing how much money that Ted does have secret away,
you're right.
He's like, I've seen people kill each other for
$20
3 alligator skins
hide.
worth $20 a piece.
Mm-hmm. So
Do you
what's
wanna know
that
how
worth
much that
today?
costs? I wrote it down. $20 back in 1976 had the spending power of $107.93, $107.93. So he's seen
107.
people kill each other for about $323.78.
This next scene where a naked woman drags him out of the water.
Well, this is when
That was almost X-rated in some angles.
this was pretty surprising. So the snake lady who we've seen, what is her name again? Damballa.
Mm-hmm. Damballa.
We have learned a little bit about her from, maybe this is where
Did
I'm
we?
saying somebody, yeah, because they said that it is the name of an Aztec goddess, and that Damballa, the sheriff looks this up. She's an Aztec goddess,
that.
and Damballa is the bridge between the afterlife and life, and it's some sort of snake rainbow.
I would simply like to say, because I don't want to waste time on it unless you want to talk about it, they have a whole flashback about where she's from. I have no idea what went on. Some other women danced. The man danced. We saw a ghost lady, and they set her on fire. Damballa. That's all you need to know about her origin. I have no idea what happened. She drank from a chalice.
Yeah. So, all right, I am going to tell you this part. So, no, it is important, I think. So, Damballa, this is the best scene in the movie. This is why Tim probably chose the scene. Damballa is just, we see her dancing from behind. She's just wearing like a little shirt around her bottom. She takes it off. So she's completely naked, just
baby
gyrating
oil all over her body.
She's very well oiled. Full frontal nudity going on for quite a long time, 76.
Yep.
Then she straddles the doughy, misshapen, lumpy form of Ted and starts kissing him and brings him back to life.
Yep. And he's still the same Ted. He's like, "You're that snake lady who lives on the island." He still has no emotions.
He's so bad. He's laying there like they're embracing, because then she tells him her origin story. And here it is, long short. Apparently the Aztecs used to live in the swamps in Louisiana. Who knew? And they had, it's 3,000 years ago, we know.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because she is going to be this snake woman guardian for 3,000 years. And after 3,000 years, there's a prophecy she'll find another person who is not like them, but is like them, and will be brought into their tribe, and she will go on to the next level.
Okay.
She meets another lady who had done it before her, who looks similar. They raise a dead woman from the ground who's like a blonde lady for some reason. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of gyrating. There is a bald guy just doing stuff too. It goes on for very long. And they cut back, and and Ted's laying there in the Ted, is that his name?
Yep, still Ted.
He looks like a fucking Ted. Ted's sitting there. Sorry, all listeners named Ted. He's sitting there like holding this like naked babe, and he's like,
I was alive, and now I'm dead. You brought me back to life.
I can't believe how bad he is.
Yes.
Why not have Sergeant Buck play this role?
Well, he's not as pretty faced, even though this man is not pretty faced.
This man's not pretty at all.
Sergeant Buck is not pretty at all either. So I don't know.
I mean, they're both like just wallpaper. But Sergeant Buck could act a little bit. This guy is very bad. And if he's listening, sorry, guy, you're very bad. You're a very bad actor.
Well, George, just like last week, I think he was played by a cat who used to wear human skin. A cat
would do better. A cat would do better. He really is in the history of all these terrible movies we've watched. He's probably the worst actor we've seen.
He might be. He's tied with the guy from Shriek of the Mutilated.
Which guy was bad in that?
The guy who ends up dead in his bathtub. He's pretty.
Oh, that guy brought some energy though.
Yeah.
This guy is nothing. Nothing. So
we cut to
smash cut to the murderers
to the kitchen, the murderer's kitchen, like
the murderer's kitchen,
and suddenly ketchup appears on it.
I wrote down suddenly raspberry syrup appears on it. They're like, oh, I don't like to look at it, and they realize, and so then smash cut then to the sheriff's office. Yeah,
we do want to go to the sheriff's office, but this is my official list.
Oh, the last one was an official list. All right, let's get the official list out of the way.
They freak out that there's bloody money on their table.
Uh-huh.
And Louise says, That's the grossest thing. They freak out because there's money with blood on it on their kitchen table.
Yeah.
But that's not the grossest thing that's been on their table. I have a list of 3 other things more gross
Okay. All
than
right.
bloody money.
Then bloody money. Then raspberry or ketchup covered money. All right. What else?
Since the finger that Max found in his fish fry. Okay.
All right. Okay. That's one.
Since Earl built his muskrat circus on the table, and one of the muskrats ate a finger. One of the muskrats ate a finger it found on the table. And grossest thing since the finger Max brought home from his birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. 3 things more gross than the bloody money.
Smash cut from the gross table of covered with ketchup money to the sheriff's office.
What'd you think of that office? Police office.
So
every place.
I would say this it's definitely the same house as where the house we were just in.
Yes, I think so.
But there was actually, I'm going to give this movie a rare compliment. There was a little bit of framing they were doing.
Yeah.
Where we're looking at Sergeant Buck at his desk, and Earl and Max come in, and they're confessing to the crime.
Mm-hmm.
And Sergeant Buck's like, oh, it's fairy tale theater. And he calls in Lieutenant Harrington. And there's like this weird doorway that they kind of have there. And like he's framed in the doorway. I'm like, that's kind of a good shot. But they don't believe them. But
crooked American flag hanging there.
Yep, it's real rudimentary. And the 2 cops step outside. They're like, well, I think he's crazy because these 2 guys could never take a badass like Ted Hawkins or Watkins. They're like, let's lock them up, say it's for their own protection, and we'll go check it out. They seem to be totally not believing at all. Smash cut to them pulling up to the dock, and Ted's waiting there for them. They're like, I don't believe it.
We thought
You're
were
alive.
Dead.
I don't believe. They say I don't believe it in the exact same tone twice. I'm like, is that an audio mistake?
I don't know. They didn't believe he was dead. Now they can't believe he's alive. Is
now
that what you're trying to say?
God, yeah, it's insane. It's like you guys were like literally like it was like that famous scene from The Simpsons where like Wiggum's like yeah, not believing it and like saying let me type it up on my invisible typewriter.
Right.
Like these cops clearly don't believe that these guys killed him, but then they can't believe he's alive. He invites them in for a beer. This time, coolly, Lieutenant Harrington has a beer.
And inside again. This house is so nice. It's like a hotel. There's a nice bed. There's pictures on the wall. I mean, it's not a crappy cabin in the woods.
Actually, now you mention it, Tim, we should have mentioned this too. There is the weird voodoo lady character, again, to use that term that we don't love. Yeah. They go to her house, and I wrote down her house looks like a typical 70s suburban house.
Yeah.
It's not where you expect a woman to be doing dark magic where she's throwing spears into somebody's back. It's like got like orange carpet and shit.
Yeah, it's odd.
This was all filmed in one house.
She wasn't really a voodoo lady, I don't think.
No, I think she was just a lady wearing brown face and wearing a gray wig. It was all unfortunate.
Yes.
So, and then like Harrington's like, yeah, those fellas, they bought me on the head. Not Harrington, Watkins.
Yeah, Ted.
Bought me on the head. They stole my money. They roll, here's your money back. He's like, it's just money. And they're like, also, there's this. And they give him back. He puts on his bracelet. He takes out the medal. And he goes, oh, also, you know that girl? I fished her out of the water. And then in walks the snake lady.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Because I wrote that. I'm like, what happened?
Okay.
I don't know what happened here.
Yeah,
that's right. She's in the house.
She's in the house. And she's like, and she immediately reveals weird information that she knows. She goes to the sheriff lieutenant. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm glad to hear your son pulled through okay. And he's like, well, yeah, how did you know about that? And then she goes to Sergeant Buck. I'm sorry to hear about your mother, but she was 88 years old. And he doesn't say anything to her. He just looks at her, looks at his partner, goes, well, how do you explain that? And the two of them leave.
He says, how did you know I buried my mother in a shallow grave, shallow grave cemetery?
He tries to shoot her. She points out that he has his medal back.
Yeah.
Which is important,
weird.
maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem to be important. That gold jewelry meant something. Why does he have this weird? It's not like a military medal. It's like a weird talisman. I don't know. Man.
And
then
the plot gets nutty, I wrote. What happens here?
Yeah, well, because then that's when she's like, well, you need to kill those guys for killing you.
I know, he doesn't want revenge. It's the snake.
No,
lady.
he doesn't.
It's like,
and he's like,
we got to get those guys.
He says, this island got to me. I don't want to kill anymore. And she's like, well, you gotta.
He's the same person. I think he's just lazy. He's like, I don't feel like going to kill them. I just like have a beer.
I'll just just this nice cold beer. And I have a naked lady here now.
And damn it, I'm sorry to hear that you don't know this part either, because I think
What?
he doesn't want to kill them.
No.
So she
tells the voodoo woman to make sure those crooks come out to the swamp again.
to
That's what
find
happened.
a pirate treasure.
She gives her a pirate map treasure too.
Yeah. And
So
then
the voodoo lady tells. This is important to something I'm going to talk about.
okay, good. All right.
Because Louise comes to visit the voodoo lady, and she's got a red sweater.
Why, Louise, the third accomplice, why is she there? I forgot all this shit. Okay.
But Louisiana is hot and muggy, and she's got a red sweater on. Number one, got a red sweater on. And
Yeah.
voodoo lady made a little voodoo doll of her with a little red sweater. That's obviously why she's wearing a red sweater, so we can see the voodoo doll has a red sweater.
Yeah.
And she says, "You're going to go out and dig up this treasure," because Louise is like, "No, I don't want it." And she goes, "Oh, you'll do it, or I'll be poking your voodoo doll." That's basically what happens.
She literally, yeah. And then she takes the voodoo doll and stabs it in the arm. And then smash cut, her and Luis and Earl laying in bed. Again, just, it's such a rudimentary set. And Earl's like, "What's wrong?" It's like someone stabbing my arm with a knife. Guess we better go get that pirate treasure. Oh. So then smash cut.
Shut up and go to sleep. And I want to mention this. She has
Yeah.
that same red sweater on in the swamp.
She sure
Why are
does.
you wearing that hot red sweater?
Because the
twice in a
prop
row?
department made that voodoo doll with a red sweater. And she's like, "The only thing I have," the actor is like, "Only thing I have is a red sweater. Better fucking wear it." So then,
They dig up the
Tim,
treasure.
this is the part I fell asleep.
Well, they dig up
because-
the treasure, and the snake
But-
lady's watching them. What?
I want to emphasize to viewers, like, this movie full of smash cuts, there's no, like, we see every shovel full of dirt. They start digging. The treasure's only buried about maybe an inch down. Like on the second or third shovelful, they're like, "We hit wood." But then we see every fucking step of them unburying this thing.
I
It looks
know.
like a coffin, medium-sized
Yes.
coffin. It takes so long. And I fell asleep.
Well, they
Literally,
take it
like,
to
was
their,
watching, it's like,
their
oh.
boat. That's a good place to fall asleep.
While the voodoo lady is watching, holding these 3 dolls that look like them.
And yeah, so they drag it into the boat,
Uh-huh.
and the voodoo lady basically drowns the voodoo doll, and of course,
Yep, she makes a wave come. They all,
boat
and then
tips
she puts
over.
them under. Boat, and then we see the 3 of them sink beneath the waves.
they drowned. And somewhere
That's
I
it.
have this written here, but
Yeah.
somewhere I don't know when this happened. The snake woman, did another dance on this coffin that didn't look so. It looked kind of cool, a black coffin. Remember?
You're right. She does do a dance. And folks,
And I don't
she's
know-
totally naked. She's doing like,
Again.
she's straddling this coffin. Like, just kind of, how do I forget that part?
Yeah,
It's like
must
one of the
fell
best
asleep.
parts of the movie.
I'm not sure what that had to do with the plot, but she was in the.
But you're
fog.
right. It is the coffin that they, I
No,
guess
it's like
that's
a
how.
metal. It has a glass plate where you can see the skull. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool.
Yeah,
effect.
you're right.
I don't know what that had to do with the plot. It doesn't matter,
I don't
people.
know. No, it doesn't. It was just an
It doesn't
excuse to see a hot naked lady gyrate for like 5 minutes. I suspect this
So-
movie was made like this guy met that actor and he's like the director. Let's say
Oh,
what's
the
his name,
director.
Weiss. He's like, I want to see this woman naked,
Yes,
but
that's probably what happened.
you know, maybe
So-
just dancing. Like I don't want to like commit to anything that'll get me in trouble in my marriage. So let me make a movie where she's a witch that just dances naked a lot.
So they go in the woods and do that whole thing again with some women dancing, and they set Ted on fire. And I guess he's the new guardian of the
No,
the
see,
swamp.
that's that prophecy thing.
Yeah.
She's freed. The 2 of them are freed because
Oh, both of
3,000
them?
years have passed, and Ted has now joined her as her partner, and they all go live in the afterlife with her like tribe.
But you said that the prophecy said someone would take over. I thought that was Ted. He was going to be the guardian of the.
No. If I said that, I misspoke.
Oh.
She takes over from the previous woman who had done it for 3,000 years. And the prophecy is she is the last woman to do it. She's going to do it for 3,000 years. And at the end, someone's going to join her, will be her perfect partner, which is Ted.
Oh, you're right, because the police come back for some reason, and they search
The police
island
come
and
back.
can't find a living thing.
Nothing. No, nothing. No animals. There's
No-
still that meteor for some reason. That played no part.
No beer,
Why is
no
it cold
coffee?
and misty? Who knows? No beer, no coffee, no money. Because you know those fucking cops are looking for the money. So,
Because it's still
Yes.
there. He got it back, right? His money was
guess.
in the bread box.
yeah. They took it. Buck took it. He's like, I'm going to buy me a lot of beers with this.
End shot is that stupid book, and it's got a new drawing of like Ted and her, right?
I missed that. Does it really?
Yes. The wind blowing that book in the wind. That's
Wait,
all.
is it back with Charlie, the guy from the beginning?
They don't show him. No, I mean it's Ted and the Snake Woman. They're now in the book.
Yeah, but I was wondering, like, because he had the book. Charlie had the book.
It didn't show Charlie.
That's rough for Charlie.
As I said last week, I'm going to give films Jack Elam rating.
Oh, so the Jack Elam score, to remind people what the Jack Elam score is.
It's just a 1 to 5. If it had some great crazy old men in the movie, it's going to get 5 Jack Elams.
Don't they specifically have to be crazy old man with weird eyes?
No, just crazy old men. Just crazy.
Okay,
old men.
so
This got none.
So-
0.
Really?
0. There was no crazy
Sheriff doesn't
old
count as a
men.
crazy old man.
No, there was no crazy old.
No, he was
men.
pretty. He was pretty normal. He was
Nobody.
pretty-
They needed the gas station scene where the men are reading the Lockhorns.
Yeah,
Where,
yeah, because most movies have that.
Where the kids been? I got some hard candy for them. Got to have a scene like that.
So on the Jack Elam score, this gets an unfortunate a
Just
0
a
or a 1.
A basic 0.
Basic 0.
Because if it's
So-
super bad, it gets 2 dead John Carradines. That's what I decided.
That's wow. Okay.
Let's
All
go to
right, so
revenge
shall
because
we-
we actually got done.
Let's go
with this.
revenge. Yeah.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
One of us will die. One of us
I
will
will
die.
I will not let Cindy take my place. I will have my revenge.
So I think I remember who from this movie, our wild card question, would use a friend as a Bigfoot bait.
Well, specifically use their dead friend as
Oh,
Bigfoot bait. Yeah, they have to be dead already.
Okay, so a lot of people ended up dead in this movie. 3 people
Yeah.
ended up dead in this movie as it is. Ew.
Try to remember a single fucking character
Well,
in this movie.
well
already.
listen, they don't have
Yeah.
to still be alive for this question. We're just going back in time, and definitely Earl. Earl would use Max. If Max died, Earl would use Max as bait
Do you
for
think-
a Sasquatch.
Do you think Max would use Earl?
Yeah,
Or do you
they
think
were
Max-
interchangeable.
okay. Those two, those
If
two
he was
guys.
smart enough to. Is Earl the one that said, "Ooh, that snake's watching us"?
Max
Or
is
that
the
was
one
Max.
who thinks the snake's watching him. Earl's like, "What are you, an idiot? It's a fucking
So-
snake."
So maybe Max may not be smart enough to do it, but Earl for sure.
The thing is, like, this movie filmed in the bayous clearly is like it's right in Fook country.
It is.
Kind of shocked that there's not a Bigfoot reference.
Yeah, I was surprised.
So I think we as viewers were robbed by the fact that Max and Earl died simultaneously. Because I guarantee you, if like one of them died before the other, they would have hauled their corpse to shore and be like, you know what, I'm reckoning we could lay this here out here and catch that big old bay tie that's been
Mhm.
terrorizing all the fish traps around here's.
It's true.
Yep.
And then, but
And then,
But- Earl is Earl the bait, or is Max the bait?
I think you said Max was the
Oh,
bait.
Max,
Well,
but-
interchangeable, really, like you said.
But Max had eaten at Taco Bell the night before.
Oh no, it's like a time bomb.
A lot of terrible
That
things
hot
happened,
Louisiana sun.
and animals from miles around just ran away, including Big Bow Tie. They all ran. The police had to come and rope the area off. Said, "Damn it, Earl!" At the end. Well, that's the end. I mean, come on, that's a story.
It's kind of, yes.
Unless you want to end
Had
it
it
more.
clear. How about this? How about he's out in the sun just watching Max just get it puffier and puffier in the sun
Okay.
as the decomposing gases of his own form and the mix of Taco Bell. Let's actually specify what it was too. It was
Oh,
3
geez.
7-layer burritos and 3 bean burritos. So it's like a lot.
Okay.
And he's getting bigger and bigger. And he's kind of like, Earl's noticing Max is starting to twitch a little bit. He's like, wait, is my friend not dead? And just like when he pulled him out of the quicksand, he takes a big stick and he
Pokes
reaches over. He's like, go on, Max, grab the stick. And he pokes him and he explodes with the force of 7 atom bombs.
Jeez, come on. Now you're
Kills
exaggerating.
everybody. Now I'm exaggerating, you said.
Keep it realistic.
Now you're being silly in our movie about a lady who turns into a snake. All right, you want to do you want to do your revenge story first, or should I go first?
What do you want to do?
It's up to you. You're the one who's
I'll
you're the
do
one
it.
who's riding. Okay, I'll go. Actually, I normally don't go first anymore, do I?
I don't know. It's not a contest, George. It's
No,
not a
but
contest.
just change up for the listeners.
Raise your hand if
All
you
right.
need help.
All right, I will, but I don't think I do. I think. Oh wait, let me see if I can read my handwriting.
Oh, great. We're off to a good start.
Yep. All right. So okay,
I kept mine under
Here's-
600 words.
mine's gonna be even shorter.
Okay.
Start the music.
Starting it.
Revenge story. Now, you listened to our plot synopsis. There wasn't actually a hell of a lot of characters in this movie, leaving the pickings pretty slim. But what if I were to tell you, Tim, would you be shocked if a character who we thought maybe had died didn't die?
I'd be shocked, but
You'd be shocked? Because I'm going to tell you, here's a little bit. There's a lot of bits that were left dangling in this first movie. You might chalk it up to filmmaking ineptitude, but it actually turns out that the director thought that this was going to be a huge hit. It was seeding sequels.
right.
And that's why there's things like there's the asteroid that doesn't play anything. That's why they talk about the gold bits that Ted is wearing. And there's the 3 gold bits. We see he gets back his bracelet or watch, whatever it is. Dumbala, specifically mentions, oh, you got your medal back. The gold ring we never find out about again.
Okay.
Because after the events of this movie happen, after the voodoo lady, after she drowns Earl and Max and Louise,
Yes.
they're in the water, they're thrashing about. Max looks down, he sees something glint in the water.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the ring, it came to the hillbilly Max, who took it into the bayous of Louisiana. And there, it consumed him. The ring brought Max unnatural long life. And for 500 years, it poisoned his mind. Way to carry.
Jeez. Are you reading right from Lord of the Rings?
Wait, hold on, maybe.
From The Hobbit?
It poisoned his mind. And in the gloom of Max's living room, it waited. Darkness crept back into the forests of Louisiana. Rumor grew of a shadow in the east, whispers of a nameless fear. And the ring of Ted Watkins perceived its time had now come, and it abandoned Max. Max had lived for so long, however, that 500 years, he was no longer the Max we knew. His eyes had grown bigger to accustom to the gloom of his dank apartment. He ate naught but gumbo and etouffee that he got on Seamless and whatnot. And he was no longer known as Max.
What's he known
Instead,
as?
he was
It's killing
known
me.
as... He was given a name based on this weird sound he would make in the back of his throat. And that sound was golly.
Oh, he's called Golly.
Golly. Not Gollum, mind you. Golly. And so Golly,
Good
he
one.
goes out to get that ring because the ring has now found its way to, like, I don't know, some dude. And he goes out to get it, but he slips into quicksand and immediately drowns.
Oh, jeez.
That is his revenge.
Good one. Yay.
Yeah, it was
Didn't
good.
he? He didn't call it his Precious because his Precious was really his Playboy with precious waters.
Well, his
Centerfold.
exactly. His precious was actually that finger that they found that time for when they had the
Oh.
muskrat zoo.
Oh,
And he was like, "Oh, it's my precious," because he always
went-
thought he's like, "One day, precious, I'm gonna put a ring on you." And then, when do you know? Once he found the ring, once he found Ted's ring, he couldn't find where Precious was because he forgot he done at Precious. Yep. So it's a story. It's sad all around. That's what Max
That's sad.
gets for looking vaguely like Smeagol and inspired me to do this entire thing. But I thought the golly was pretty cute.
it was. It works.
Yeah, thank you.
It works.
All right. Tim, take it away. Take us home.
Start my music for my sequel. My sequel ain't no funny story. So that
Oh, keep up the accent. That was good work.
no, it's offensive.
To who?
I don't know. So 2 days in a row. I tried that before. I fell apart. So that there, Louise.
Roll the music.
That there,
Roll the
Louise.
music.
What? No, go. You know Charlie at the beginning of this movie? Well, this town is
Charlie,
so small.
just remind us, Charlie was the guy who
book.
had the 5,000 or 6,000 books.
Yep. Charlie, this town's very small, and Charlie, you didn't know this, but he is brother to Louise, one of the 3 people that murdered Ted.
That makes sense, actually, because there's like
Yeah.
7 characters.
We saw that red sweater that Louise wore for 2 days in a row in that hot, muggy Louisiana sun.
Yeah. Louise is dirty.
You know what happened?
What?
That was Charlie's sweater, Charlie's favorite sweater. And he said, Louise, you can't be borrowing my sweater. But she snuck in while he wasn't home.
Oh,
And
no.
she wore that sweater.
She wore his sweater.
Yep, without asking. And he
Wasn't she worried that she'd stretch it out?
Nope, she don't care.
Nope. Okay. All right.
And he waited for her to show up again at the annual outhouse race, but she never did. And after a week or
I have
so,
questions about that.
Charlie realized his sweater had gone missing. Not
Oh,
Louise,
no.
just his sweater. That's all he cared about. So he went to the voodoo lady of the swamp to see if she could help him find out what happened to his sweater. But what does she see? She sees... Oh, sorry. But what does he see? He sees that little
What
voodoo
does he
doll
see,
with
Charlie?
with a tiny version of the red sweater. Yeah, Charlie sees that little voodoo doll with the tiny red sweater. And Charlie asked what the voodoo lady of the swamp knew of the sweater. And the voodoo lady told him to get out of her home before she curses him with the plague of hippies. He said this is a serious story. And Charlie's so steamed, as he left, he picks up a strand of her hair he sees on the floor because he knows a little bit about voodoo.
Because he has 5,000 or 6,000 books.
Yep, he knows all about it.
He's read about that stuff.
He already has his revenge plan for her. So, determined to find out what happened to that sweater, Charlie took a trip to New Orleans. And he found another voodoo priestess to make a doll out of that piece of hair he had. For those who don't know, you need something from the person's body to make a voodoo doll.
They actually, in all fairness, they actually even mentioned that in the movie. It's like, take these
They did
personal
mention-
effects. Like, where'd you
yeah.
get these crumbs of them? No explanation where they came from.
So he gets this voodoo doll made. And he goes back to this
Uh-huh.
this town they live in that's never named.
Oil can.
Yeah. You mean Oil Town?
Oil Town. No, Oil City. It was Oil City. Reference
So
to
Char-
past episode, everybody.
Charlie, he goes back to town with this voodoo doll. He's going to confront
Mm-hmm.
the voodoo princess. But there's always a but.
There's always
He can't find any needles to poke this doll with. You know, Carter was president. As we know, everything was terrible. And gas cost $100
The Great
a gallon.
Malaise has
There was
the
a
Great
needle
Malaise has
shortage.
settled on us all. Needle shortage. Oh, that sucks.
No needles. And Charlie was so desperate. He went to his mother's house. He hadn't talked to her for a year. They had
We
a
haven't
fight
heard about
about
the
how to
mother yet.
celebrate. Yeah, they had a fight about how to celebrate the bicentennial. She wanted to paint George Washington on the fire hydrant on their corner. And he wanted to paint Lyman Hall on the. I'll tell you
That's
about
the man
Lyman
who
Hall.
invented Sprite, right?
Yeah,
Because it's great Lyman flavor.
and he signed the Constitution.
Yep.
He asked her if she had needles, but she said she had sold them all at the last yard sale. Them and all them pet rocks she had. She sold them to the voodoo lady of the swamp. So Charlie sat at his mother's table feeling defeated, but then he saw the little converter box people had back then to get HBO and other pay channels. And if you're about 90 years old, you might remember there used to be a converter box you had to buy and put on your TV to get HBO. Do you remember this?
I have a question. Like, no, in the 70s?
Yeah. Some people
Wow,
had it.
I didn't know
That's when
cable.
it came out.
I thought cable was 80s.
It came out late 70s. I remember hearing it.
All right. Okay. All right.
As a little kid,
All
I was
right.
like, watch movies on your TV.
I hear there's boobies in some of those movies.
So,
There's this one movie I heard of. It's called.
Dark Secrets.
Why the fuck was this called Crypt of Dark Secrets? Hey, go on. There's no crypt.
But then he saw the little converter box people had back then to get HBO and other pay channels. If you're under 90 years old, you'll know what that you could put pins or matchsticks in some of the buttons and get the channels you weren't paying for.
Wow, is that true?
Yeah, and Charlie said, "Liar, you're using one of those last pins to get Skinamax movies. I know it. I see it there in the box." And he went to get it, and she protested and said she just wanted to watch the bicentennial celebrations on cable. And Charlie and her mother, they fought over that pin in the converter box until they knocked over all the bicentennial candles they had lit on the bicentennial cabinet, and the statue of Washington made out of straw burst into flames. And they both died in the fire as across town the voodoo princess laughed.
Wow.
Because you don't mess with the voodoo princess.
I like that she started as a voodoo priestess and gradually morphed into a princess.
Oh, the movie.
Did she get a crown? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Poke Me Once, Shame on Me. Poke Me Twice,
God
Shame
damn
on Voodoo.
Oh, God.
There you go. We did it.
I have bad news, Tim.
What?
I just looked it up. This movie set in 1976. Cinemax did not debut until 1980.
Well, I'm going to
Edit
that out.
It's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a lie
I'm
now.
going to edit that out.
All right.
And Lyman
Wow,
Hall.
Tim.
Lyman Hall was born in Connecticut in 1724. He's a real person. Studied
Oh, I looked him
medicine
up
at
too while
Yale.
you were talking.
Oh, you
Yep.
did? You just trust me that much?
Tim, after doing this podcast with you as long as I have, like, I need to look up every reference because sometimes you do drop these weird factoids and sometimes you're making up weird shit. And I got to know because I know now Lyman Hall is going to be with us probably through to episode 100. He will make appearances here and there. He'll peak at about episode 98. Who knows? It's a wild ride. SETI BIMCO.
Yeah.
Well, we sure had fun talking about the inexplicably, now that I think about it, named Crypt of Dark. There was no crypt.
No.
I mean, you could even argue there wasn't even really Dark Secrets.
No.
Like, what would have been a better name for this movie, honestly? Like Lair of the White Worm. Like,
yes.
Maybe. Or like
Curse of the Snake Woman.
Yeah, Curse of the or Naked Snake Lady or Shake It, Don't Break It. All kinds of stuff. The Adventures of Ted Watkins, the worst protagonist I've ever seen. There's so many things we could have called this. Well, Tim,
once he gets
this
to
is the part.
Where's he going? He's going to the world of the Aztec gods. Is that what's going to happen to him?
The Aztecs in this world apparently start because they make the mention. I can't believe they even said this. 3,000 years ago, it's like our people are going to go down south where we'll meet they say like colonialists or something, and we'll meet a fiery end. They're like, okay, we'll do that. Like, so basically, it turns out the Aztecs lived in the swamps of Louisiana, went and founded the Aztec Empire, and then were all murdered by the conquistadors. And they all knew it was going to happen.
I just wondered if he got to the world of the gods. He's like, well, here I am. It's the world of the gods.
Yeah. So this really is something, huh?
Yeah, I punched him because he was so boring.
Oh man, you know how like they famously would use like the heads of severed sacrificial victims to play a game.
Ooh, yeah.
Like in the Aztec Empire, like they fucking cut off Ted's head and were kicking around. And because they after like he was still alive, he's like,
guys, I can't help but feel, ow, that you're kicking my head like this. Ow. It's like a real not fun thing to do. Ow. Oh.
That guy sucked.
He did. Sorry if you're listening.
So, folks, sorry for listening. And Tim, I see your game here. I know what you're doing. You are taking us on a regional tour of independent film, which I appreciate. But like, I think you were trying to hurt us with this one. And you know what? I ain't afraid. I'm going to one-up you.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my turn to check the next movie.
It is.
I mentioned that this guy, Ted Weiss.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's fucking right.
He made another
Next
movie.
week, we're doing another Ted Weiss movie called Mardi Gras Massacre.
Okay.
Yeah. It's widely regarded. I'll say this, Tim.
Okay.
This guy does have a following, and this is regarded as his masterpiece.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So people who are, because I spent a lot of time on some bad movie sites, and people who are aficionados of this sort of movie, they're like, yeah, this one's okay, the one we just watched, because, it's got Naked Lady a lot. But Mardi Gras Massacre is where it's at. So join us here next week. It's available streaming on Tubi.
Tell me it's an
for
hour
Mardi
and 10
Gras
minutes.
Massacre. I think it is short. I did make
good.
sure that was something too. Actually, no, I'm a little scared. Let me see.
And email us. Email us at SETIBIMCO with @gmail.com. Because I'm going to check mail now. We still got a blockage problem. Oh, yeah, the mail's still. I got a message saying mail is blocked up. Too many people are writing.
God damn it. People just take time when you're right. Don't write at once.
Follow us
all
on
get in touch.
SETI_BIMCO on Instagram. You'll see wacky pictures. And threads. That's where we are. Listen to us anywhere. Love us and like us. Okay? George is looking things up.
I'm trying to see how long this movie is.
It's okay. You already picked it.
It was banned in the United Kingdom.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a good sign. On IMDb, the first thing says sex and nudity and lists all the nude people. So we have that to look forward to.
Jeez.
More naked stuff. This time in New Orleans proper, not the swamp. So,
okay.
Hey. All right.
Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
I can't even get anyone to come out here and clean up for me. In fact, the only human I've seen out here is a black-haired girl who goes swimming back down by the pond.
Swimming in that pond? Ain't a human being in 10 miles of this place. Ain't a human being want to come to this place. that I know of.
I've run down there as fast as I could to catch her, find out how she gets in. She always hightails it out.